Welcome. In this video, we are going to walk through the process of how to add descriptive data to your record. You can do this for one of two purposes. You are actually creating your record with a file, or if you want to go in and say edit, change, or just tweak some information, the process is the same for both. So how do you start? Well, if you recall in the last video, we actually started the initial process of creating a record with a file. So we don't have to go that route again. So we're going to stay on our left-hand side and we're going to navigate down to where it says top 100 records. And this will literally take us back into the top 100 records that you have created for your collection. And you can see, let's just do a brief walkthrough of what we have here. You have the title you've given your record, the number that it's been assigned by the toolkit, and the date it was added. And in some cases it will tell you whether you have it on public or non-public display. In some cases as well, it will tell you what kind of record you've added or created. In this case, we created a group. Here is a virtual exhibit that we created, and here's a template. So they also flag the item types that you are creating. So let's go back up to our top, and we want to find, if you'll recall, we uploaded a postcard and we titled it St. George's Square, and there it is right there. So I'm going to click on that. And it takes us into our data management screen. So you can see there's the images that we added in our previous video. And now we're ready to start describing it. So just as a refresher, to add records, you go into your file text screen and you can associate files with records you created. You can go in and edit and change the details. And you can even indicate the operator, equipment, and software that was used. Again, this is all in a previous video, so if you need to check back on that, please feel free to do so. And one more reminder, if you want to track how your record is formatting, you want to monitor your progress, you just click on the display tab and it will take you into your display screen. Okay, now let's move forward with our description. So we're going to move into our description workflow and we're going to start filling in our metadata fields. So the first thing you'll notice is these red flags here. They're just reminders. There's certain things you might want to do before you move away from your screen, because remember, and again I will reiterate this all throughout, if you're adding, changing, or whatever you're doing, if you're modifying information in your screen, you have to click update record before you move away from the screen, or you will lose your information. You'll have to do it again. Okay, so what this is telling us up here is that we haven't assigned an item type, there's no sortable dates, and our record is not on public display. Now, when you first add a record, it will always default to no for public display. You can leave it on that if you wish. Personally, I prefer to leave mine on no as I work through and add my information, and once I'm happy with everything the way it's turned out, the information is correct, my images are okay, then I'll switch it on to yes for public. You can do it right away if you wish. Again, it's personal preference. Keep in mind, depending on where you are in the indexing, it may become public and visible within a few minutes. It may take longer. Again, you'll know best how you want to go about your workflow, but just keep in mind that you do have those options. Okay, media type. We already indicated that when we initially created our record. In this case, we're doing an image. Now, if for whatever reason, maybe you've discovered you've chosen the wrong media type, you can click here in blue and go back and change it. Just be aware that if you do change the media type, it may alter the template you're working with. Therefore, some of the metadata fields you will need to describe your record or your object will no longer be there. So just keep that in mind. If you want to change the type, it could affect the fields that you have to work with. Okay, secondary media type. It's just another indication of the media type that you are working with. Again, it's an access point in descriptive data that will help your users discover your records. Now in this case, we are going to be adding an inscription to our record. So I do want to indicate that there is also text involved here. But say you were working with newspapers or you're uploading a clipping, you would indicate that it's text and also that it's a genealogical resource. I know many of us have large user base of genealogists, so again, another access point and another way to let your users know that this is a resource that's specifically for them. Okay, moving on to item type. This is just a way that you can really indicate to your users the type of item that this is being described. You can see there's a list here. Now you can set up all kinds of agency checklists when you set your agency up, and we will walk through that in another video. Say you work with a lot of photographs, postcards. When you create your checklist, it just saves a little time in your workflow because you don't have to go in and add the item type here. All you have to do is click it off. So just to demonstrate that, let's say for argument's sake we were doing album covers. As you can see, album covers is not part of our list. So I'm going to go in and start typing album. And you can see it's already in our thesaurus. So we're going to click on that. And it's as simple as that. But we're not doing album covers, so I'm simply going to uncheck that and go and check off postcards. Very simple. Okay, moving on. Our title is something that we assigned when we initially uploaded the record. Again, you can go in and change this at any point. Then the next three fields we're not going to cover in this video because they are really for newspapers, serial publications. As you can see throughout VITA, there's little guides and hints to help you along the way. And again, we will cover newspapers in another video. So let's move past these. And now we're going to go into the creator name and role and the contributor name and role fields. Now obviously, if you know the name of the creator and the role they played in the creation or the execution of the object, then you can enter it here. In this case, we want to indicate the recipient and the correspondent of our postcard. So beginning with the correspondent, let's say it's George, and we'll give him Green as his last name. Now, as you notice, if he's a correspondent, it's not part of our list. We didn't set that up in our agency checklist. You can certainly do that, again, if you're working with a lot of postcards. Very easy just to have it there to check off. But it's not there, so similarly what we did up here for our item type, we're going to do the same thing here, and we're going to add in correspondent. Click on that, and there it is. Now, let's indicate who the recipient is. Let's say it's his mother, Margaret Green. This isn't autocorrect, a fabulous thing. Okay, again, recipient is not part of our list, so we're going to go in and add it. And there it is. And it's checked off for us. So it's as simple as that. Now, subjects. There is a authorized list, and let's go and add some and see how they work. Now, if you go and start typing in, let's say we want to say this is memorabilia. Helps if I spell it right. Memorabilia. Nope. Well, if that ever happens to you, all you have to do is let the little wheel spin. You go down and you find memorabilia. It's not there. There you go. For those of us who are spelling challenged, it's already there. And say, now you don't want to really duplicate work just for illustration purposes. We've already indicated the item type as postcards, but we can see that postcards is already part of the source, so that's there. Again, if you start typing in your word and it doesn't show up, check your spelling. But if the little wheel keeps spinning, it means it's not part of the authorized list or in the thesaurus, so you can go in and add it. Let's say we want to add Space Wars memorabilia. I seem to have a mental block with that. Oh, see, it's correcting it for us. So all I have to do is click Update Record. Again, important. If you want this to be added to the list, you have to click Update Record. And there it is. Now, if you type in something and it doesn't show up after you've updated, it means it is already in the list. So again, you may have spelt it wrong or just didn't scroll down far enough in the menu that comes up. So try it again. But again, if you want to add something, this is where you add it. Okay, clear as mud. Moving on. Personal names. Again, only add names that are intrinsically attached to the record in some way, shape, or form. In this case, we know that both George and Margaret are names that are attached to this postcard. And if you're used to cataloging, this will be second nature to you. You put the last name first, first name, semicolon to separate the names, and you can add as many names as is appropriate. And that's a very simple process as well. The same with corporate names, the process is the same. Now, description and notes. Now, the description is something that you want to add information about the item. Let's say in this case we want to put that this postcard is printed on acid-free paper. We know that's not true, but you get the idea of what type of information would go here. Now, notes is where you may add extra information about the object. Let's say that we want to add that this postcard is part of the Green family collection, and you might want to indicate that Margaret's maiden name is Irwin. Again, you're providing your users more information about the record to help them determine if it's the one they are actually looking for. These windows are extensible, so you can add as much information as you need. Again, I wouldn't go too top heavy on it. There are other areas that you can add information in here. Okay, inscriptions. This is very useful and actually a little fun. Most postcards and even photographs and other items may have inscriptions on them, whether it's information on the front, maybe giving information about the postcard, what have you. Certainly whatever is written on the back, personal notes, this is where you would add it. You can do this one of two ways. You can simply type out the information here, or if you've already transcribed it and you've saved it in a RTX or TXT file, you simply have to go and grab it, and I'm going to do that right now. Simply copy. Let's get rid of that, and we'll go back. Go over and you paste. Very easy. Now, the other good thing about this area, this window, this field, is you can add HTML and you can mark it up, make it a little more interesting to read off the screen, and it's very useful if you have a long piece of text that you're adding here. You can add breaks and it just makes it easier to read on the screen. But I'm not going to do that right now. Just want to let you know that it is possible to do. And we're going to move on to the language in the item. Now, in this case, it's English. Let's say for argument's sake there was also some French in there. All you had to do is type it into your field here. You can see it pops up and you add it. And you can do that with as many languages as you need that are a part of the item. Okay, mystery question. Very useful field. Great to get some community engagement and feedback. You can ask if anybody knows anyone in the Green family. It's really good for mystery photographs. You can ask if anybody knows who the people in this photograph are. So don't forget to use this if you can. Now, moving on to the dimensions. You may not have this information, that's fine, but if you do have it and you do want to include it, this is the area you would do it. Now, the overall dimensions would be, say you had a painting, or even if a postcard or photograph was mounted, this would include the frame and the matting. The image dimensions are just for the image itself without all the other extraneous materials that may be included with it. And here you can add information about maps and charts, the publisher if you know it, and the place of publication. Now, dates. The first thing I'm going to add is the date of the original, and it's in natural language. Again, more guides to tell you how to enter the information about dates. So the date of the original can be done in natural language. So let's say this postcard was sent July 15th, 1925. So then the sortable date, which is machine readable, that the machine uses to sort items for relevance, is year, month, and day. So we're going to put in 1925. The month was July, and the date was 15th. Okay, briefly, date of depicted you would use if you say had a painting. The painting was actually created in 1995, but it's depicting, say, the War of 1812. So the date of event depicted obviously would be 1812. So that's just how you would use that field there. Now you have your date ranges here, earliest and latest. In this case, they're both the same, 1925, 1925, and there you have it. So I've entered all the information I want to, or that I have at right now. Again, if you have information that may be missing and you come across it later, you can always go back in and add it. And remember, before I move away from my description screen, I have to click on Update Record. And I want to see what it's going to look like. So I'm going to click on my display. There's my images. And here are the fields I'm starting to fill in. My creators, my media type, my item type, any descriptive data that I want to add about the item itself, any notes about the content of the record, my inscription, and you can see why sometimes doing some markup makes it a little more easier and interesting to read on the screen, the date of the original, my subjects, and my personal names, and the language that's in the item. And we will cover anything to do with copyright and Creative Commons license in another video. So, very simple. Again, it's very manageable. You can go in and you can alter information at any point. And before I leave, I just want to point out our new Vita Toolkit help site. All our manuals are here. We also have different guidelines and bits of information to help you along your way and how to manage and set up your own collection. And we also have our little icon here if you need help, help@vitadualkit.ca. If you have any questions, you come into any issues or problems, please do reach out and let us know. We are here to help you. So, very simple process. Again, practice makes perfect. Hope you found this video interesting. Next up, we will cover geography. Very fun screen to work through. See you next time. Bye for now.